Well, we need to get right to it because Fiona, the fabulous, fantastic, and truly knowledgeable Fiona is going to be here in a moment to give us some more advice. But I really want to delve more into her two books. We're going to do a little bit of that. And of course, like usual, so that everybody doesn't turn on me, I will play my normal game with her as we normally play games on this show toward the end of the show. It'll be a little different than the norm because each game is geared for whoever is on. So I've done my research like usual, but as I often say, no one is here to watch me. We are here for our guests, who today is Fiona, the diva for the day. So monitors are all in place. Everybody's good to go. My hair is done. I shaved my legs for this. So let's bring Fiona in. Let's get this going. Let's have some more fun.
Hey.
I'm a grown man who's a big kid, and I don't care who knows. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Well, then we better start talking about something. And I think I've given enough time to get you in, and now I can turn off the music because now I get to pick your brain some more. Now, we were just talking about something a few moments ago before we took a commercial break, but I want to delve into something real quick. You have two books.
Yeah.
I'm like the king of promotion. Whoever comes on my show, I like promote till my face and my lips fall off. So, again, your two books again are behind you on the wall.
Fearful to Fabulous
Yes.
and Too Scared to Love Again.
Too Scared to Love Again, and from Fearful, correct me if I'm wrong,
to
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay. I just love the whole fabulous thing. Okay. But you were a school teacher at one time, correct?
I was. I started teaching. Actually, I went to college to do teaching, started when I was 18. And that is actually, after college, I went to live in Sierra Leone, West Africa to teach.
Wow.
With a voluntary, it's called Voluntary Service Overseas. It's a charity, an English charity. And that's actually where I met my ex-husband because he was in the Peace Corps. And then I came to work in New York as a teacher, got married, had a bunch of kids, stopped working for a really long time, and then went back to work when the youngest one was in kindergarten. So, yeah.
You had a bunch of kids, by the way, who think the world of you, as you have said, and one of them was on the show that we know of. So how many children do you have?
Just four. It's not really a bunch. Four.
Just four. That's a lot for somebody who only had one. I wouldn't know. I have three. But so 4 children. And out of the experiences that you've had so far, up to this point in life, what is there that you believe you could pass on in the way of tips, and probably have done it already, to your children when it comes to relationships?
Well,
besides laughing like that.
Yeah, a lot of... I think at the beginning, and I talk about this in my second book, actually, at the beginning, there was a lot of bad information that I was giving them.
Not you. No, really?
Well, that was before I was me now, right? That was me.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So I definitely, the thing about restart, I've had a lot of restarts in my life. So after the divorce, there was a lot of restarting. So as my third kid, my middle daughter put it one time, I'm probably never getting married because you put me off the whole thing altogether. So I'm hoping that I haven't. I don't have her in that regard. Anyway, I hope she's getting it now. No, but the tip I give them is that you have to be very sure of yourself, and you have to set your boundaries, and you have to know what you want, right? And don't put up with anybody treating you in a way that you don't deserve to be treated.
Right.
That you don't deserve to be treated. And that's the most important thing. Mutual respect and communication.
I
didn't have the two most important things in a relationship. Even if
I
you
see
have
a
to
third
say
book. I see a
something,
third book coming. I see a
yeah,
third book
maybe.
coming. I see a third book. Go ahead. I just wanted to throw that in.
I
Sneak
was
that
going to
in real
say,
quick.
even if
Go
you have
ahead.
to communicate something that's uncomfortable or that you
Yeah,
think the other person
I
doesn't
agree.
like, you
Yeah,
have to say it, because if you don't say
you
it,
have to.
it
Yeah,
festers and it's just going to ruin everything. You know, the worst thing that can happen is they're upset with you. Then you talk about that, right? If you don't say it, they don't read your mind. You know, they think you're thinking something else. It's always going to be worse if you don't say it.
and that can become a pattern that is carried over into a relationship because that habit or pattern lifestyle of not really addressing matters and sweeping things under the rug could be something that people were doing before they entered a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, so my my particular problem, you know, me and my ex, we fit really well. My particular problem was that I grew up in a very, very I don't know, stressful would be a good word, situation. And so it was like walking on eggshells all the time. Like, you didn't say anything
Wow.
to upset anybody. You kept your mouth shut so it
Wow.
didn't set anything
Hmm.
going,
Hmm.
right? So that's what I took into my relationship. I didn't want to say anything that would upset anybody. I'd rather it just fizzled out and went away. My
Wow.
ex came into the relationship having, that was the kind of family he had, that everybody's perfect, there are no problems, we don't talk about that.
Wow.
So the both of us were in this, so we didn't talk about it. He was upset with
Wow.
me, and he also, part of it, I mean, I'm not slagging him off, this is a fact. My personality, my British sense of humor, my whatever, I don't think he ever got it. Like, I don't think he thinks I'm funny. I don't think he, you know, so I would say
Right.
something
Right.
that I
Right.
thought was funny as
Right.
a
Right.
joke, usually
Hmm.
self-effacing, really, to myself. He
Uh-huh.
would take it very personally, but never said so. So he's thinking I'm saying one thing, I'm thinking
Hmm.
he thinks I'm funny. Like, it just was a complete disconnect, which built
Hmm.
up over the course of, you know, many years. And
When
that
it when it comes when it comes, let's pull back from that, and we're looking at a situation now that it's somebody else and it's not you, and she's
right.
in the same situation you have just described. What would then be the advice to both of them if they both are coming to you? The two people you've just described, of course, one of them was you, but the two people you've just described, and now they're coming to you because their marriage is lacking confidence. They don't see the confidence that it's going to last. How would you tell them to approach this based upon what you've just said right now? What would you tell each one of them?
I would say that each one of them has to actually think about a way to tell the other person truthfully, what is bothering them, what is, you know, in a nice way, without
Hmm.
using
No,
curse
no,
words
yeah.
or doing really,
Not putting a
think of,
hole in the wall and acting
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Okay.
think of a way that you could
Right.
say to them what is in their head, and what are you actually trying to say to me. And here's what we find is that we're all in these little boxes, right, and we're saying these words, we're not listening to what the other person's saying.
Yeah. Right.
So we think we know what they're going to say, but we don't. And you really need to listen and think about the other person's point of view. Where are they coming from?
Hmm.
That's the important thing, because sometimes when we say things, it comes from the place that we've been, right? Not where we
Right.
are right now.
Hmm.
And you have to, if
Hmm.
you want your relationship to work, you have to try and understand where
Yeah.
that person is coming from. And if it offends you, say, listen, did you mean it like this? This is how I'm
Hmm.
hearing it.
Hmm.
This is what I hear. Is that what you're saying? And that's the only way to really communicate and understand, instead of just assuming that that's what they mean.
Hmm. Right. We could be thoroughly understanding something that doesn't exist. We could believe that we understand something that we think they're actually thinking.
Right.
Yes,
And if nobody says
it's a
anything, then you're
misunderstanding.
all bets
Go
are off,
ahead. You were
right?
saying. Say it
I,
again, please.
I said, if nobody says anything, all bets are off. You're just
Oh yeah,
completely thinking,
like
yeah,
all of a sudden everybody's a mind reader, and,
yeah,
and it's like, well, we don't need to talk because I know exactly what you think about me and what you think about yeah.
right.
So it becomes this, you know, that kind of thinking never works in a playground. That whole mindset, if you took kids and put them in a playground, they don't play like that. They pretty much just say, hey, look, you did this, and the other one go like, no, I didn't, and they'll have a moment,
Right.
but they at least will talk it out. And you
Well,
get
that's
two
the thing.
adults.
Kids are
You get two
great because
adults that
They
Yeah.
didn't
They
go
just
through the
stopped talking.
limiting beliefs yet. The limiting beliefs
Yes.
that I don't want to
Ac-
say that.
Yeah.
If I say that, it makes me a bad person,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's my fault, or how about I'll just ignore it because of all the stuff I've been through in the rest of my life. They haven't been to
Yeah.
that point
Right.
yet, you know?
Yeah. You're just like that last kid I played with, so I'm not going to say it to you because
Yeah,
you're just like that. And the kid is going like, "Hey,
exactly.
I just got here. I
Yeah.
don't even know what you're talking. I don't even know the other person." It can happen. Now, this is where second session is always the fun session for me, even though I had fun in the first one because I get to kind of have, well, I get to go to your page and pick whatever I want and
Uh-oh.
then ask you. Yeah, I know everybody says that when they're on this show. They're like, "Oh my God, what did I post?" Okay, so I want to start with this. Please tell me. I'm going to go with this. It's a picture of a brain, a person, their brain, and a little heart. So this is what you put for
Okay.
April 12th as a posting, and these are your words here in the comment. So much depends on your mindset and mental health. It can affect your personal health, your physical health, relationships, and even finances. This is a good day to start to create a new habit of positivity towards yourself. Now, you list a number of different things there. Of course, it would be cruel of me to make you think that you're going to remember all of this. You're kind enough to mention Narc Abuse TV, but you mentioned a number of things. But I'm going to just do this here, and you tell me what were you thinking, and some of the points that you make here, and
Oh
how
my
we can
gosh.
apply them.
Oof.
Now I'm getting scared. What were
All
you?
right.
So I'll say this. You say stand and look yourself in the eye in the mirror, and then of course you put a big gulp with an exclamation mark. That's tough enough already. Second thing you say 5 things out loud that you're proud of yourself for. You have at least that number. You can find them. The third thing you say is acknowledge. Release and forgive yourself for something in your life that you feel is holding you back.
Right.
Okay? So
Yeah.
I'm going to take you with me a
Like
little bit here. I'm
this.
going to move the camera over a little bit more so you can see me here. And then the third thing, rather the last thing you mentioned, which is the fourth thing. Okay? Fourth thing you put there. Try to stay in the camera shot here. Say out loud something that you will commit to doing today.
Right.
That's what you put. To move your life forward to where you want to be. Now, those are 4 different things that you're not supposed to remember in this moment that I just read to you. But someone, as many of my viewers do, and others that download this show, they go to your page and check it out, but they're really watching your facial expression because they're wondering if you even remember this. That's why they love me doing this. That's why I do it in every show.
I do remember it. I do remember it. But I thought I'm one of those people that when you ask me my social security number and like I go like, oh, I I don't know.
Like, you're talking to me? I don't know
Yeah,
what it
like
is. I just live
I have
here. I
social
don't know.
security number. I don't know. I'm
But
like
yeah, I
that.
got
I
to,
like freeze
yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do remember doing that because you want to know why you should do those things?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just the co-host. I just get to read. I'm the Ed McMahon. You're Johnny Carson. So run the show, Johnny. Whatever you want. You're the diva for the day. Yes, please, by all
Right.
means, tell us why.
Why do you need to look at yourself? Because if you don't look at yourself, you're not going to do it. Number one, right? You're just
Okay.
like whatever. It's hard to look at yourself. It's a way of it's an accountability, right? You're looking at yourself in the face. It's an accountability. I'm gonna prove to myself that I'm good enough. Looking at yourself is hard, don't you think? I mean, you look at yourself in the mirror all the time.
No,
Maybe
I
I,
I I
but
agree.
you
It
don't
can be
look.
difficult.
You don't like look at yourself
Yeah.
uncritically. It's usually if you're looking, you're like, oh, I need to do this, or I need looking at yourself uncritically and saying all 5 things. I'm good at this, because people don't give themselves enough credit. It was like I said
I agree.
before
I
about
agree.
writing the badass list. You can think of 5 things that you're good at, and there
Yeah.
are things that you are holding on to that are holding you back that you can't forgive yourself for, even if it's I was supposed to write an article and I spent all day watching Netflix, right? So, and you're like, I'm so mad at myself. What kind of person would do that? Or it could be something as serious as you had an affair, right? I mean, the two
Yeah.
huge things of the spectrum.
Right. Right.
But how do you forgive yourself for that? Well, you forgive yourself because that's place you were in when you did that. That was
Right.
the mindset you had, and there was a reason, because you were profoundly unhappy. Because people don't have an affairs if they have a wonderful, happy life, right? That's just a fact.
Right.
I came to
So
realize that I used to think people who had an affairs were evil, right? Because that was my childhood and everybody I knew and my husband and da. And I realized after working with all these women that had been in that situation, that they had done it. After speaking to them, I was like, no, it was a symptom. This is a symptom of the marriage. It's not the reason for the end of the marriage. You don't have an affair if you're happy. Something makes you incredibly unhappy that you feel you need to do something about it. I'm not condoning it. I don't think it's the best way to deal with it. But
I recognize
understand
that
it.
you're not condoning it. And of
Yeah.
course, everybody, please don't write me. The
Yeah,
show
no, I'm
is
not
not condoning it,
I'm saying
but
I
we
understand
are
it.
stating that there are aspects that come into play when that takes place that you're addressing right now. And I'm
Right.
glad you're addressing it.
Yeah.
But go
So,
ahead. You were saying?
yeah. So if you're in
I
that
gave you a disclaimer,
situation,
so they'll write the letters to me, not to
I
you.
know it's all right. I get lost.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
if you're in that situation and you're like, I ruined my whole life, I ruined this person, I ruined my kids, like whatever you're saying to yourself, the point is that's who you were then. You don't have to be that person now. And
Right.
there's nothing
Absolutely.
you can do about it.
Absolutely.
You can't change it. So what can you do in this moment to fix it, as it were? What can you do to help the people that you might have hurt? And what can you do in your life going forward that you're not going to be that person anymore? Right? So that's what I'm saying about forgiving yourself. What was it? And the last one was
The other aspect that you also mentioned was to say out loud something that you will commit to doing today to move your life forward.
Yeah, because again,
to where you want to be.
That's accountability, right? Thinking in your head, all kinds of, whatever, right? If you're looking at yourself in the eye and you're like, I'm going to do this, and you say it out loud, it's more of an accountability to yourself that you're going to do it. And then the one that I didn't put on there, I don't think I put it on there, but the other thing that I was thinking, if you're really, really, really feeling brave that day, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you look and you say, I love you.
It's there. I just saved it because I was directing my show that you just took over. The only job I have is being a sidekick, and you just took I was saving that for when you got done.
Sorry,
but obviously you're done.
So, and I do remember it. I remember.
But yes, it is. Yes, I was deliberately saving that. But go right ahead. No, but
that's hard.
That's what it says.
It sounds like, oh, you're looking at yourself. It's really hard. I mean, I've had women I've asked to do that who have not been able to do it or have done it and it made them cry.
Well, of course, I could see that.
It's incredibly powerful to.
And what it is again that you're saying that you were talking about is after these 4 different aspects that you talk about, these tips that anyone can go to your page, and your Instagram page is
fab.with.Fiona.
Awesome, man. We're a great team. Okay, so it says, once you feel able, look yourself in the eye and say, I love you, until you mean it. That's what you say.
Yeah.
All right. So that part is what you're talking about right now. It costs some of your clients, people you're working with, to have give way to tears.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it, maybe even. Right. They've never given themselves permission to accept themselves, hold themselves accountable, forgive themselves, look themselves in the eye, but let alone literally just love themselves as is. Right. They keep dancing around, making adjustments to their environment, and never really can settle in just being happy with who they are.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a society thing one of my big crusade, I have 4 kids, 3 of them are girls, right? And I think that we're taught to be so self-effacing. I'm hoping these things are changing these days. I mean, my oldest is 26. I'm hoping things are changing these days, but they still, that confidence in, little girls, when you're in school, when it's a mixed classroom, boys and girls, at the beginning of the elementary years, teacher asks a question, all the little girls' hands go up, right? Yeah. Everybody's hands go up.
Yeah.
By the end of the elementary years or middle school, girls don't put their hands up. And it's not because they don't know the answer.
Oh, definitely. They know the answer.
I don't know the study or whatever, but that's a fact. That's what happens. So, you know, you ask her what you say to a woman, and I used to do this all the time, and I'm learning. Not perfect. You'll say like, oh, I like your, oh, what a pretty shirt you've got on, right? And guaranteed, most women will go like, oh, yeah, oh, I got it on sale, or it's, you know, whatever, oh, it's old, whatever you say, right? Or else I got it from Marshall's. You put it down in some way.
Yeah.
Why can't we just say thank you very much? Because we feel we have to deflect that compliment.
Yeah.
Right? And learning to say, well, thank you. Yes, it's pretty, isn't it? Or just thank you is fine. That way you're absorbing the compliment. You're learning that somebody is being nice to you, and it's okay to be nice to you.
It's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you deserve it, right? I'm not talking just external things. It's lots of stuff, right?
No, of course not.
Oh, you did a good job. Oh, well, I had a good team behind me. Well, no, maybe you did a good job, right?
Maybe you actually did a good job. Yeah, right.
Even honestly, I said I'm not perfect. Even writing the books, like I wrote 2 books. Well, I know a ton of people that have written books because I hang out with those people learning to write my book, right? That's what I do. Coaches and people who wrote books. And so somebody said to me about, well, you wrote 2 books. That's such an achievement. And I'm like, oh, no, I know loads of people who wrote books. And I had to really reel that back and go like, you know what? That's actually pretty freaking cool. I wrote 2 books in 2 years, a year and a half, actually. 2 years, 2 books. That's pretty amazing, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, see, you would have been in trouble with my dad and my mom, because if you would have said that to them and they were in front of you, they'd look at you and go like, "I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you right now." They used to do us like that as kids. We go like, "Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, my brother did." You're like, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to your brother. I like what you just did, so you need to like it first. That's what he used to tell them. You need forget about me being proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. Just don't get a fat head, but you should take a step back and look at it. And 2 books in 2 years. What was your thinking before you wrote the books? Was everybody telling you should write a book? By the way, I think the 3rd book should be entitled, it's just my opinion, I think the 3rd book should be entitled Thank You Very Much. I think that should be the title of the book. And you should just go from there. But anyhow, go ahead. Go ahead. Or just a series of T-shirts and cups that say "Thank you very much," and then your Instagram page.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you very much. And by the way, if anybody takes that, I'm coming for you, because that's Fiona's idea. Leave her alone. Yeah. That's her book and her coffee cups and stuff like that. Your T-shirt. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the question was, what was I thinking before I wrote the books? I had no. I mean, I did, English in college, English and teaching, but I didn't assume that I could write a book. I mean, that's really hard, right? Who writes a book? And don't people spend years doing it? And don't they? And then somebody sort of put the idea in my head, and I'm like, well, what am I going to write it about? And they're like, well, what do you teach people? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I actually hooked up with a coach who helped you. I wrote the whole thing, right? All the words.
Right. Of course. Yes, I know what you mean.
Teach you a method.
Right. To write the book.
And so it was like, oh my God, I can totally do this.
Yeah.
And I wrote them both. I had 9 weeks to write the books. They make.
Whoa, time out. Nope, time out. You got to rewind. You had 9 weeks to write one of them.
Yeah, I wrote one in 9 weeks, and I wrote the second one in 9 weeks too.
Really?
Yeah. Because I'm one of those people,
not self-published. Okay. No, I was gonna see. I didn't mention that in the pre-show prep or the show prep we did, but I picked that up just talking to you. Yeah, you need a deadline, and you're like awesome once you have a deadline. It's like, let's get this done. I can see you doing that.
If you give me 3 months,
you're like, yeah.
Before the 3 months is up, I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna be doing it right, yeah.
Do it in 2
I
weeks,
totally
I will
see
get
that.
It done.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? And you're not gonna change that either. You're gonna be that way.
Who I am.
Yeah, that's who you are. But no, that works. No, that works for certain people, and others it may not. But I've worked with people like you, and it's like, you know what? You need to leave her alone. But she should be you need to leave her alone. When we need to have it, she will show up. So don't. If she's playing golf or baskets in her office, leave her alone. She's just fine. She will burn the midnight oil and get it done. It'll be ready just when we need it. And that's the kind of person you are, that when it needs to be done, you will do that. It actually, to me, it shows on your page. I'm not going to get into some of the postings anymore right now because I want to talk to you about the book.
Okay.
Now, again, I'm preaching to the choir because you know this and many of my viewers, but for those of you who will watch this and don't know, our shows are not scripted. These are not canned answers that we've
I'm
prepared
sure you
for.
can tell.
You really are. Yeah, by the
Going on.
deer the headlights look you have sometimes when I ask you something, it's gonna like, what he asking me? So this is not scripted. This is actually something we just kind of talked about in between on the little commercial break we took. I want to talk about the first book. Just
Okay.
a few tips. Listen again. I repeat, people stop being cheap. Go get the book. Just spend the money. Get the book. Don't be trying to get your friend to buy a book and then you go read it at their house. Get your own copy. Don't be cheap. Support Fiona
Yeah.
and follow her page. But when it comes to the first book, which is the title again is behind you on the wall, and I'm so glad you did that. I tell people that all the time. Please promote stuff behind you.
My head's in the way
We
then.
get no. It makes people want to look every now and then because they can't see it. So the first
Yeah.
book is Fearful to
Fearful to
Fabulous.
fabulous. Yes, because that's how you start out, like totally fearful.
Okay.
That's the whole point. You're so fearful of the future. Like I said, you're that comfort zone. The fear of the unknown is the worst thing in the world. And so you're fearful. You have no idea what's going to happen. But you can become fabulous, by moving past this place that you're in. So basically that book outlines 7 steps.
Okay.
7 steps that you can take to move you past this stuck place that you're in, the fearful stuck place, to give you that chance to breathe, to start to get your confidence together.
More and more people, you're getting some hearts on the screen there, people loving you. You who could not love you? You're a lovable person. So
I am. It's true. I don't know what to say.
that's right. Just give you a deadline and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the 7 steps that are outlined in your book, there are things. There's a point when a person can either hear this or look at it as they get their copy of the book. They can have things that will be excuses, things that they feel are stopping them, blocking them, whatever it may be. What are some excuses people give to not implement these 7 steps that they need to let go of? People can come up with reasons why the 7 steps may be difficult, but they really need to put them into play.
Yeah.
What are some things that get in the way?
The voice in their head, that's actually one of the steps. But that they say like, well, this is all very well for you, because I don't know, I got alimony from my ex-husband and not everybody gets alimony, so that's why I did it, right? That's the reason. I mean, I did work also, by the way, but that could be a reason. Or well, it's okay for you because you're younger. Well, I was 45 when I got divorced, so I'm not that young, right? Or it's okay, I couldn't do it because I didn't have the right college degree. Or you don't understand, I still love my husband, my ex-husband. I get that a lot. They
Really?
They give me a whole list of stuff that the guy did to them, and they go, but I still love him. And at first that was really hard. I'm like, what? And then I really delved into that, and I actually wrote a whole article about it. But the truth of the matter is, it's not really, it's the relationship, it's being married, it's being in that safe zone. There's a lot of other stuff. It's not really just him, right?
Got
And
it.
when they
Got it.
figure all that out, maybe they don't love him still. But or another one is, when he left me with all this financial debt, or he left me with all the house and the kids and all of this stuff to do, and it's all on me now. Like, those are all, and they're all very valid reasons, right? They're all good, but they don't have to stop you from moving, because it doesn't matter where you start, right? It doesn't matter how far down you start, you can still move yourself forward, right? You don't want to stay in the place you're at. You just keep going forward.
A lot of times people feel that they want to stay in that spot because they're just in love with the idea of being in love and being married.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. They feel like they still love him, but what it is they loved the life that they had, or the life that they thought they were going to have. And, it's true of everything. You look back and you have these rose-colored glasses, right? You look back and you sort of, one of the things I talk about is you look back on your marriage and it's all this fairy tale, like, oh, it was wonderful.
Right.
It was, I mean, I could say that for sure, right? I could be like, oh, but we did this and we had this, we went to the country club and we had this great house and we did, but you know what the truth is, when you really look at it, when I start to really look at some of the things, it's like, no, you know what? I actually wasn't that happy. There was some stuff in there that did make me upset. There was stuff that he did that wasn't acceptable, but I didn't see it happening at the time. So you have to.
What you didn't? I'm sorry.
It went over my, like, I didn't notice how bad it was. I just thought that's what things were.
You just being married, and that's just the way it was between the both of you.
Yeah, that's the way it was, and that's how people treat people, and that's, you know.
But never thought to really have the motivation to speak up and go like, "Whoa, time out here. Hold on a second."
No, because my bar was very low on what was acceptable because of my
That's your wait. No, that's your fourth book. That's my bar was. You need to make a fourth book. Everybody's going to be waiting for these books, by the way. You get the fourth. My bar was very low. That's going to be a bestseller without a doubt because everybody's going to go like, "Hey, that's me." So their bar was very low. Well, you're talking what? 22 years old, I think you said. You got married?
No, when I met him, we got married.
I'm sorry, when you met him.
Yeah, I was 27 when I got married.
Yeah, wow, that's still young overall.
Yeah.
But I mean, so your bar was kind of low, so some things just kind of flew by. But right now, your bar is not low.
No, my bar is pretty high now.
So I love it. You know what? I couldn't wait to ask you that question. You mentioned it because your expression on your face. Please, watch this over. This very part when I ask you that question, the look on your eyes and your smile, it all changed, and you were like, no, it's never happening to me again. That's the kind of look you just had. And what gets a person to that point after taking a look at those 7 steps? They may get to a point where they start to recognize, I can't go through this again. They're not just saying it because they went through a divorce, but they literally start to have a new set of beliefs that tell them, this cannot happen to me again.
Right. You change the pattern that you're in. You listen to those limiting beliefs. You figured those out. You've become more confident, and you set your boundaries, right? And I'm not talking about like, oh, I don't like men. They're awful. I'm never going out with anybody, because I don't feel that way at all. I don't. Yes, there are crappy men, but you know what? There's bloody awful women too. So it is what it is, right? But there are good guys out there, right?
Yeah, correct.
And there are even good guys that are great that are not for me, right?
That's absolutely
and there are
correct.
Good guys that are great that I'm not for them. So you've got to find the good ones that you want, right? So that's the thing. It's all about setting your boundaries. This is kind of the second book type thing, but it's really about knowing all of these things that happen to you, and now you know what you don't want, right? Now you're like, oh great, I don't want this, I don't want that. So so use that in order to figure out what you do want. Mm-hmm. What is acceptable? I mean, I can talk about, it's the second book stuff, but do you want me to go?
No, we're going to go through that. I'm just going to ask you. No, this is a beautiful segue. You're doing just fine, but I'm going to ask you this about the first book, the fearful to fabulous. Why did you choose that word? It didn't say angry to fabulous. It didn't say anything else. It said fearful. Why was that important to have as a title of the book? The fearful aspect.
I think the anger comes from the fear, frankly, doesn't it? The anger comes from the fear of not knowing what's going to happen. You are completely you don't know. I mean, I think I probably said this earlier, but in that 5 minutes when my life went from like what I thought at the time was perfect to like, holy crap, what's going to happen now? It was almost like, I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, right? And I'm looking into this black abyss, and I'm like, what am I going to
How do I navigate? Where am I going from here?
I have no clue. I don't know what my life is. I'm worried about money. I'm worried about
the children.
The children. What's going to happen to my kids? Yeah. Am I going to be alone? Oh my God, I'm 45. I'm ancient. Haha. I'm a lot older than that now. But I was like, I'm going to be alone.
Okay, I still got you beat. I still got you beat on. I still got you beat on the age thing. So thanks a lot for making me my senior citizen card out. Okay.
You're younger than me. You're right.
So go ahead.
And then, so it's like that. nothing, what am I going to do for a living? What,
Yeah, right.
Every single thing in my life. And I was literally terrified. Like I'm pretty, honestly, for my whole life, I'd never really been scared of anything because I'd always managed to figure it out. I'd always had, my life was, it sounds like it was awful. Whatever. I grew up in a very abusive alcoholic household.
Okay.
And my solution to that was to be the only person in my entire extended family still to get the hell out and go to college, because that was my way out.
Wow.
Right? So I figured out that problem and I solved it and I did it. And then after college, I'm like, what am I going to do? Hey, I'll go to Africa. That sounds fun. So I'd always been able to look at something and say, like, okay, this is how I solve this problem. I'd never had to worry. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this situation where I'm like, I can't fix this. I don't know what to do about this. And that to me was terrifying, because I'd never, in all the stuff that happened to me, I'd never been in that terrified position before.
Wow.
So
you've always been, go ahead, please. No, I mean, go ahead.
So that's why to me, it's incredibly fearful, and I think most women, men too, probably, maybe to a lesser extent, just because
to a measured degree, but mainly women. Yeah, go ahead.
Mainly women, just because of society and finances and stuff.
Yes, absolutely correct.
They feel absolutely terrified, and they don't know what to do, and that's why I called it you're in that fearful place.
Okay, from fearful to fabulous.
And fabulous. It's my word. I like fabulous. So.
I told you that word works for you. It's like you need a fabulous series. It's like you did fearful to fabulous. You have your other book. And then, of course, you're going to do your other 2 books that we just discussed today. I just put pressure on you. I didn't give you any deadlines, but the other 2 books. And then you go back to, the second book in the series of Fearful to Fabulous 2 or something like that. Anyhow, I'm just like giving you all these backwards marketing ideas today. Do me a huge favor. Tell me something. We get to the second book now. Again, everybody, you know how I am about this. Open your pocketbook, get the book. Don't sit here and think we're going to tell you all the secrets of the book, because we're not. You need to make sure you get the book. The second second book, the title of it is what again, please?
Too Scared to Love Again.
Now we went from fearful to scared.
Well,
go ahead.
People just read one or the other. You can read both, though. They're both good.
I was going to say both. Yes, go ahead.
So what happens is, in the first book, we're dealing with, like, don't jump right back into another, actually in this one too, but don't jump back into another relationship. But so many women, I read, and it's not just people who talk to me. I'm in Facebook groups and whatever, and they have this view of, like, all men are scum, essentially, like, quote.
So wait, let me make sure I get this correct. You're saying I should stop telling my daughters that then? No, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. That'd be like bad parenting 101.
Like,
go ahead.
This is going to be awful if I get back. First of all, dating is a nightmare, right? You get these pictures that you don't want. You get these obnoxious men that write to you. You go on a date and they treat, or they ghost you, or they do all this stuff, right? Again, women do this too, but this is from.
We're not talking about that part. We're talking about men right now. Okay, go ahead.
From the women's point of view, and so. There's that. So the whole dating aspect is terrifying to them. And then the other part is, what if I end up back with somebody who treats me the way my ex-husband treated me? Like, how do I not get into that place? So they just feel like it's easier just to stay on your own, but they don't want to. They want a relationship. So it's like this, like, how am I going to deal with that? Right. And I just want to point out.
The book addresses that. You were going to say. Go ahead. You were going to say.
I was just going to say, before I go any further, I did get, somebody wrote on one of my Facebook posts, oh, here's another person telling us we have to have a man in our life to make us feel better. I just want to point, that is not my point at all.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to write that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
It was a woman that wrote it. That is not my point. And if you read my books, you'll totally understand that's not the point. But people want a relationship. People want a partner. They don't want to be on their own. And if you do want to be on your own, I'm totally happy with that, right? You have to be, but the point is, you have to be able to understand that it's okay to be on your own, and you have to be comfortable with being on your own, right? You have to be not afraid to be single before you can jump right in and get that new relationship.
And so many people don't recognize the gift of singleness, that it truly is a gift to be unwrapped in so many different intensity levels, the depth of it, the breadth of it. There's so many parts of it that have benefits that are often not explored, but often people have regrets after they get married or get in a long-term relationship, get married to someone, and then they look back and go like, oh, wow, I really didn't use my singleness to the full. And they may have regrets where others don't. Others just, they're content. They did what they did, and now they're married and they're okay. So I'm quite sure you weren't telling people that you're just another person saying that, because if they take it that way, of course, there's nothing you can do about that. But
Right.
I can do this. I can tell you this. You talk about red flags.
Yeah.
You talk about red flags. I'm not going to give away the whole book, you guys, but can you say 3 red flags that pop into your mind that's a part of your book, or just in general that you want to highlight to people before we end the show today? 3 red flags that often people, or maybe you personally, overlooked the first time in your life in dealing with your ex. Red flags that are common to individuals when they are looking for a mate.
Right. I would say that people, if you're with someone and he's making little jokes about you that are kind of mean, but it's a joke. Yeah, it's not a joke.
Not good.
It's undermining.
No bueno. Not good. Not
It's
good.
totally undermining you. I
agree with you on that one.
Yeah,
it's not a
he
joke.
is not a good guy who's got a good sense of humor. Okay,
No.
you don't
No.
need that, because people who like you don't say mean things to you.
Yeah. Please go with that. I've told my daughters that before too, and they're single, and I go like, look, I'm gonna tell you from guy 101. When a guy does that, he has no love for you or respect for you.
Yeah.
It's not, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah. Ladies, please don't fall for that. Don't let him tell you that, oh, no, I still think you're beautiful. No, trust me. He's picking you apart and he's setting you up so that he can dump you later. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying? I just had to get that off my chest, but go ahead.
I'm trying to think of another one. Sometimes, well, there's 2 extremes, right? There's the guy that meets you and says he can see you once a week, but then, sometimes he'll change his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, the last minute. Oh, but I'll see you Tuesday instead, whatever. It's like, no. What is he doing?
No.
He's doing something else.
Yeah.
That's one extreme.
Being that you're hitting the good ones too, because I'm get me in daddy role real quick, because I can go on that one too. That's no, because look, men are pragmatic. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we tell you we're going to go do something and we change our mind, we better come up with a really good reason, because we don't have that much going on. Right. And so we if we change our mind, there's a reason why. It's because we think we got a better offer somewhere else. Yeah. And that can happen with a woman too. A woman can do the same thing, but we're talking about guys right now. So that's a little flaky. That's a little flaky.
I would also say the other extreme is a guy that meets you and immediately wants to see you every single day. Yeah. Send you flowers. I mean, it sounds lovely. Oh, he's sending me flowers. He likes me a lot. Because very often, not always, but very often, that is very quickly going to turn to, what do you mean you're going out with your friend tomorrow? Because I wanted to see you. Aren't you seeing me tomorrow? Don't go out with your friend. Are you talking to other men when you go out? What are you doing when you go out?
That's what happens.
And that becomes this. I've been in that relationship a long time ago. That was my.
Let's stop the show. I want to hear this one. No, this is good. Okay, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Actually, he texted me the other day asking me about it. Anyway, so.
This is some good juicy stuff right here. Let's go Gossip Girl talk show now. Go ahead.
So he wasn't blocked anymore.
Anyway. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so that very quickly often turns into a very jealous, controlling relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in the place that I was in then, if you're still that, non-confident, and if you've been out with somebody, if you've been married to somebody or you've been on relationships with somebody who isn't very emotional or isn't very generous, suddenly having this person treating you like, oh my God, he thinks I'm a queen. He loves me. He must think I'm fantastic. He wants to be with me all the time. He bought me some flowers. Like, it really sweeps you off your feet. But the point is, you got to look at that and go like, hold on a second, this is a little too much too soon. You've just got to back up a little bit, right? And see what's going on, because usually there's something behind that. They turn pretty fast.
They have no choice. Each scenario, red flag that you mentioned, is very common coming from a man. It can happen with a woman too, but it really speaks to a man's insecurity. You know, they either double talk, they don't talk much, or they're always in your face. All of them are ways a man shows his insecurity, and he's being territorial. Men can be very territorial real quick, and a woman doesn't even know what's happening to her. Other guys on the outside can look at it and go like, this is not going to go well, because he's trying to lock you down for a reason, and it's because of his insecurity in one way or the other. It's not because really what the woman has. It's just he needs to feel a sense of conquering something, and then he's bored and he wants to move on. But that's a whole nother show I could do. I have to pick it.
But you know, and if you're that woman who's not very confident, those types of men often also will start to tell you that you're doing something and it's your fault, and you start to believe it.
Absolutely.
Oh, so I'm doing it's my I better start doing what he tells me because I'm the one ruining the relationship.
Oh yeah. They'll start with something as simple as I thought I told you I really didn't care for that color, but you wore it, it's okay. And then they wait to see if you change the color and never wear it, or and they just wait, and then they go like, yes, she's doing what I tell her. And he'll never say it to you in person. There's little things that guys do to be overbearing and tricky and sneaky, or slithery, as one of my other guests, Darcy, one of my other guests said one time. She said the narcissism people, men like that are slippery.
Do you think it's conscious all the time though? I think sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. I think
who doesn't know? Who doesn't know? The guy?
You think they know all the time that they're doing that, or is it just they can't
they
help
tell their little running buddies? No, they get this. I told you I could do a whole show on this. This is why I'll lose. The 85% of men that follow me and DM me. Listen, no, look. Women talk about stuff. So don't you think guys know that? Yes, they do. To answer your question directly, yes, it's very well planned, and it becomes knee-jerk after a while because it works. They test a woman's insecurity. If a woman goes like, okay, I like this color, I'm gonna wear this. Okay, I heard you the first time. That's why I'm wearing it, because I like this color. And now what's he gonna do with that? He's gonna go like, wow, gee, you're being rude to me. Now that tells you right there, he's got a problem with you speaking your mind, and that means you need to, go like that with your hands. I'm out of here. Because you'll never be able to be yourself.
That brings up another sort of a red flag-ish when you meet somebody when you're out. A guy who definitely was a narcissist told me about how his method of picking up women. So he would go. That's
never good. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah. By the way, this is the guy that I went out with. He would go.
Okay, you and I are having a consultation. We're having an open session right now.
I'm just.
Okay, go ahead.
So he would sit he'd see a group of women, and he said he would pick not the best looking woman. He said not the prettiest, not the most outgoing, and he would sit there. I'm giving all these secrets away now, ladies.
No, that's old. No, ladies should hear this. Yes.
And he would say to this second-rate woman,
and that's the way he looks at her, second rate.
And he would look at and he'd start slagging off the good-looking friend.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how come you're not sitting with? You're so much prettier than her. Why does she think she's the bee's knees? Why are all the guys talking to her? You're so much prettier. And he would like play on this woman this way,
triangulate her. Yes.
So that she would think, wow, finally somebody, whatever. Even if she didn't think that's a friend, right? But he's playing on all of those
insecurities, technically.
To make her think
physical insecurities. Yeah. And telling her that she's smart and all this other stuff.
To me in a bar after this guy had told me this.
Wow.
I was a friend of mine who is like 6 feet, beautiful model. She looks like Sharon Stone. She was gorgeous. And I'm just sitting there drinking my drink, right? I didn't care. And he came over and he started doing exactly the same thing to me, talking about my friend. And I said, actually, she's really nice. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he just like, after a while, he just gave up and walked away, right?
That's when you look at him and you tell him, like, you know what? I understand what you're saying. I have to put her in a wheelchair every time before we put her to bed at night. She's not well. But, that's why I'm the pretty one and she's, anyhow. Look, I'm going to tell you this because I can't keep you all day, but I can do this. I can do this. I want to ask you a few questions, but
Okay.
before I do that, because I'm not going to do a full-fledged game, I'm going to do part of a game with you right now. But before I do that, I need you to tell me what is it that you have going on about men and companionship, and
Oh,
you're helping men navigate how to behave, or what do you like, Ringling Brothers Circus for men? What do you got
no,
going
no.
on? What's going on?
I just
Explain it to me,
started.
please.
I just started a Facebook group.
Okay.
Whose name I can't remember right now because I told you. You asked me a question. I'm like, oh my god, I can't remember it.
You
But it's
had
on my
one job through the
it's
whole
on my
show.
Facebook page.
I'm the co-host, and you're the
Sorry,
diva, and you forgot the
forgot the name of my group. I just started it. But
it's
basically,
is
I can tell you what
is
I'm doing.
okay.
It's a
Go
kind of
ahead.
a they come on there. It's going to be the same stuff as I do with women. I'm going to post things. We're going to have tell me what your issues are. Let's
Yes.
look at that. Let's see why you're thinking that. Let's see, are you worried about how you're going to write your profile? Are you worried about somebody said something to you and you don't understand why she behaved that way? Well,
Like she
maybe you
told you to
did
go take a flying leave, stuff
right,
like that.
exactly.
These,
So let's
these
look at what's going on. Let's see
okay.
if we can get you to a place
Uh,
where you can find that companion that you want going forward,
right.
right?
Because
So
because I am the sidekick for every show that I do. I'm never really the host. I am always a sidekick. So as your sidekick, uh, you have posted April 6th. It's called Beyond Dating, a group
thank you.
for men. That's what I'm here for. Hey, I got to do my job.
Super.
This is free TV, but I got to do
Yeah.
my job and get paid. A group for men over 40 who are ready to find lasting love and companionship, and that is Fiona's coaching program that she's talking about right now. Because I am the ultimate super king of plugging stuff for
You
whoever
are.
comes
Thank you.
on. I'll plug it to the day I pass out because I love all of my guests. So that's the program you have going on. If anybody wants to be a part of that, get a hold of Fiona and get rid of your fear. And you don't have to be afraid or scared anymore because Fiona will take care of that stuff for
Yeah,
you.
I got you.
Fiona, um, I had a great time. There's so much more that I could pick your brain about, but that's always the case because you have a lot to say. You have some really treasured postings on your page and some great quotes from a lot of people. But this is what I'm going to do now. Are you ready?
I think so. I don't know.
First of
Maybe not.
all, between the ages of 15 and 25, that's a decade of your life, 10 years.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 15 and 25, Fiona, there are things about you people may have not understood, didn't really get. Maybe they mismanaged you and didn't take care of your heart the way they should have.
Hmm.
But you learned things about yourself that maybe you shared with others. But what are some things about you between the ages of 15 and 25 that you've
Hmm.
experienced that you would give as advice to your children that you have learned? And let's say you could whittle that down to just three things. What are three different aspects between that decade in your life, the age of 15 and the age of 25, that you experienced and learned that you could kind of shrink wrap and pass on to your children as a part of your legacy for them that you learned? What three things?
Okay. Okay. Not just about relationships, right? In life in
It could
general.
be about whatever you
All
want
right.
about life in
I would
general.
say the the biggest thing.
This is for your children now.
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is that you take control of your situation. It doesn't matter what you're in or what's going on in your life. You have to do what's right for you. You have to say, I don't like where I am right now. And so what am I going to do to fix it? What am I going to do to change
Okay.
it? I did that. I was in my situation, my home situation, and I didn't like it. And I didn't want to be there around those people. And so I said, okay, what do I can do? The only way I could see was to go to college. So I did it. Right. That's what I
Got it.
did. And
Got it.
then, as far as relationships, maybe I didn't learn very much. I actually ended up engaged last year at college, and the guy,
Wow.
cheated on me, and I went back out with him
Wow.
when he asked me. It's a long story, but
Wow.
it's like, no. So you know what? When you break up with somebody, this is a big one to learn. When somebody doesn't work out for you,
Yeah.
Just walk away. Don't
That's your
assume
fourth book.
when they come
That's your
back,
fifth book.
it's gonna
That's your
work
fifth
out.
book. Just walk away.
There's a reason. It's my fifth book.
Say it
There's
again.
a
I'm sorry.
reason it didn't work out, right? There's a reason,
Okay.
and so trying to go rehash things that don't work out isn't going to work out. So in other words, don't look back. Don't look back. You're going to always be looking forward. So I guess that's my second thing, right?
Got it.
Third thing, you know what? I would say be adventurous. You know, I don't stay in the same place because it's easy. I could have gone from college to getting a teaching job, you know, somewhere in England. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do more. I want to try something different. I want to get out there. And I got a job and I went to Africa, right?
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Don't just take the easy way out. You always want to try something to push yourself, to challenge yourself. Is that 3 things? That was pretty good, right?
That was 3 things that I need to make sure to find a way to repost. So I'm going to work on that. Maybe you'll repost it on your end too.
I'm not sure I can remember what I said.
No, that's why it stays there and it gets uploaded so that you can go back and watch it.
I know it was good though.
That was excellent. And I don't care what anybody else says, but I think it was excellent. Those are 3 items of life that you're going to be passing on to your children. I technically have 2 other things that I want to cover that's going to be super fast. One, the second question. That was my first question. This is the second question. Second question is this. Your name is spelled Fiona, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That is your full name.
Fiona. Yes.
What does it mean?
Oh, it's, you know what? It's actually very common in the British Isles and Australia. It's like Jane. It's like every other person's called Fiona. It's a Gaelic name, so it's either Irish or Scottish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it means, I think, God, if you're Irish or Scottish, don't write to me if I got this wrong, okay? Because
yeah, and don't write to me either.
This is just what I was told, and I think it might mean princess.
Okay.
In one language.
No, you got to go with that. Who cares what the meaning really
princess.
is? Yes,
White
go
princess.
with that.
I like them both, yeah.
We are going with that. Here we go. You're totally going with that. She is indeed the princess of the hour and 2 hours or thereabouts for us here. Third question. When it comes to the experiences that you've had in life up to this moment in time, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, how would you rate this experience on the show today?
Oh, this is a 10.
Hold on. That was the right answer. Now for the bonus round. So thank you very much. Those are the only 3 questions that I had to ask, but I do want to tell you this. You have been a true pleasure. The show prep we did was a lot of fun. I have show prep with a lot of people. It's been over 200 some, I guess. I don't know, segments or whatever. And each one is always different. But I learned from you. I enjoyed hearing your thoughts about a number of things. We got a chance to, I don't know why you were writing things down. You just taking whatever was coming out of my head. We were brainstorming on stuff. But I listen, your programs and things that you're doing have a lot of meaning because you're an excellent teacher of people. You're excellent at honing in on what someone needs to know in the moment. You're not all over the place. You can hone in what somebody needs. You give them the information and you move on. And you don't take away their dignity or anything like that. You're excellent at it. You're very, very good at it.
Thank you.
You're easy to learn from because you have an objective when you're trying to do something. You just did it right now when I mentioned the 3 things to pass on to your children. You can pull things out of the air that are pertinent that others will miss, and you will give it to them. You've no doubt been that way all your life. It's just that others may have not recognized it and didn't appreciate it, and now they've moved on, only to miss the type of person you truly are, which is a very valuable person to this planet, because you can get to the point, help someone, and move on. But if you were able to be in a position to tell people what you really think about life and other things, let's say you had a moment, like a show like this, for example, in which you could just have a moment to say whatever you want to say before we end the show, would you would you do that? Could you possibly do that right now and just say whatever comes to mind and what you think would be some words of encouragement to everybody else? Could you do that for me?
I can give it a go. I think that we're all facing something, right? All the time. Things come up every day. This is what life is. Some of it's not going to be so fun. Some of it's going to be awful. But the most important, we all have to live through it. And the most important thing that you can do is look at that thing that's happening to you right now, acknowledge it. If it's something you have to grieve over it. If it's something that you have to deal with financially, you deal with it. But what you do is when you look at it as a learning experience. Everything that you go through is valuable, right? I'm not saying there's a reason for it. But it's valuable because it teaches you something, and you can take whatever it is that's happened to you and you use it for the next stage of your life. That is the most important thing that you can do. You can't just look at it and say, that was horrible, I'm going to forget it. Learn from it.
Absolutely beautiful. After that, can if I ever write a book, I want you to put that in the forward of the book. That was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. You watch this back and write that out. Please just get a transcriber and play it and let the transcriber just oh, that was beautiful what you said. And because of that, I need to go shuddy and end this show because I don't want to step on that moment. That was beautiful. You're a beautiful person with a great heart. Your potential has no ceiling. You just keep doing you. You're a great person, Fiona. I'm sorry, Princess Fiona. You're absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna start.
Not the one out of Shrek.
No. Okay, now you just messed up. See, now you put a different image in. Okay, now I gotta end the show because I just messed up my own Princess Fiona. Now you just said that. Now I'm gonna go watch Shrek, and I'm gonna be messed up. I'm gonna be messed up now from here on out.
She's a beautiful person too, though. That's
yes, absolutely. You are beautiful inside and out for all of the good work that you've done and the things that you survive. And you have been a source of encouragement to a lot of people. But right now, you need to go and have your life and let me step out of your life. And we'll reconvene another time. All right? Yeah, I'm out of here, everybody. I love all of you, but Princess Fiona, the real Princess Fiona, is going to go now. And I'll see you later. Buy her books, you guys. Like, comment, share, follow. Fiona. Thank you, Fiona. We'll see you later. Thank you, everybody.
Great.
Bye-bye.